Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome to a new video. I'm going to be talking about my thoughts on The Walking Dead Season 4. So yeah, obviously this is my review. Enjoy. So before I start this review, the link for my new channel is in the description. I'll be uploading a new video tomorrow just to explain what is happening with that. And this season review isn't going to be in depth as my Fear the Walking Dead is, simply because it's only me and not Leland as well. But I do have a few notes, as you can see. But I won't be talking about every episode. I've just got a list of notes on the important things I think I need to talk about. Yeah, so with that said, start with number one. Well, episode 1. So in episode 1, Rick is in the woods and he ends up stumbling across this weird ass woman. Yeah, and he ends up asking her questions like how many people has she killed and if she can join this fucking if her and her husband can join their group and all that. Then her husband isn't alive. He's a walker, but she thinks that Rick and all can help him, but I don't understand how, because it was only, I'm assuming, the top half of the body of the husband anyway. Yeah, and then she just ends up killing herself for some weird ass reason. If I end up looking down there during this video, then it's obviously because I've got my notes down there. So yeah, Zach ends up trying to guess what Daryl did in before all this outbreak happened, and this kind of tends to go on for a bit until Daryl kind of reveals to Beth what he did before this apocalypse. And Zach ends up dying because they end up going to a store to get supplies and shit. And Bob, Tyrese, Daryl, Glenn, and Zach, I think it was only 5. There was walkers on top of the store. They were the roof was breaking in, and shit just went down from there. Zach ended up dying. I thought Bob was gonna die. I'm pretty sure one of those episodes, the first half of the season, Bob risked his life for a drink. Yeah. And right at the end of that episode, Patrick has a fever and dies. Yeah. Episode 2. I can't remember if this was episode 1 or episode 2, but we find that someone is feeding the walkers rats, and we don't end up finding that out until episode 14. We found out it was Lizzie. And yeah. Right, this is definitely episode 2. So in episode 1, Patrick ends up turning because of this whole virus flu thing, and in episode 2 there was a big huge fucking walker outbreak in the prison. No one knows how anyone turned or anything, but then Rick, Herschel, and a load of other people, Michonne and Daryl I think were there as well, were in this office type place talking about it and everything. And yeah, Lizzie and Mika's dad dies because he got bitten by one of the outbreak walker type people, and I think that's the reason of why Lizzie ended up being the way that she was. But that kind of didn't make sense because Mika would have sort of been that way as well. But like I said in episode 14, I believe it was, Lizzie either must have a mental illness for her to think the way that she did after everything, or she was just fucking crazy. So in episode 3, I've only got one note written down, and that is that Karen and David died by either turning first. Well, actually no, they wouldn't have turned first. Karen and David had the flu. No, Tyrese was a bit thing with Karen because he was in love with her and everything, but we found out that Carol burned Karen and David's body. And yeah, that's all I've got for episode 3. Episode 4, I've only got one note down, and that is that Rick banished Carol because he found out he's doing all this police detective work. Yeah, Rick found out that Carol was the one who burned Karen and David's body, or bodies, and they ended up going on a run, and then Rick just like said, "Yeah, I can't trust you with my people. Yeah, you're a danger." And yeah, that was episode 4. The only thing for episode 5 I've got is the governor, because the governor ends up returning at the end of the episode. I don't remember what else happened in that episode, but yeah, that's all I've got for episode 5. Episode 6 and 7 was a governor episode. So in episode 6 we found out what the governor has actually been up to since the end of season 3, and that's pretty much just like burning Woodbury down, walking through the wilderness. Obviously it's not the wilderness, but I guess in the apocalypse, I guess it would be the wilderness, because there was no one around. And he ends up going to this apartment building type place, I think it was, or something. He ends up bumping into these people. There was Tara, her sister, her dad, and her niece. I don't remember what anyone else's name is, but yeah, and so they pretty much just like he stayed there for a couple of days, and then ends up like fucking off with everyone else. The Tara's dad and whatnot dies, I think due to illness or something. Then obviously the governor had to kill the dad in front of Tara, the sister, and the niece. The niece like cries. No shit. At the end of episode 6, the governor and that little girl ends up falling down the hole. They almost get attacked by walkers because there's walkers in the hole. I'm assuming the walkers fell down that hole or something, I don't know. But then the governor gets reunited with his his previous second-hand man. And that's where the episode ends. So episode 7 was once again a governor episode. And he ends up killing his second-hand man, or previous second-hand man, because he wants to take leadership, I'm assuming, of this new group, who ends up joining the governor and taking over the prison in episode 8. But yeah, the governor goes off on a mad one on in episode 7. He ends up killing his previous second-hand man. He kills the one other person, then he kills another person's brother. Yeah, it's just kind of confusing. So, mid-season finale, episode 8. This was hands down my favourite episode. If I had to pick a least favourite episode, it'd probably have to be episode 13, simply because of Sasha. She did my head in that episode. But if I had to pick one of my least favourite episodes, and obviously episode 13 would have to be the least favourite episode. Not that I didn't like it, it's just that Sasha did my head in it. Even though that in episode 14 Lizzie did my head in, but yeah. So yeah, mid-season finale, episode 8. The governor ends up going to the prison. The prisoner gets taken over. Everyone ends up having to leave the prison because of walkers and everything. Yeah, that was my favourite episode. Herschel dies because he gets decapitated. His head decapitated by the governor with, I'm assuming, Michonne's sword. I think. I don't know. But yeah, episode 8 was my favourite episode. Episode 9, I shit myself at one part when Carl was in this house place and a walker just come out of fucking nowhere. The walker steals his shoe. He ends up writing a note on the board saying, "Walker got my shoe. Didn't get me," or fucking some shit. I can't remember what it was. And at the end of that episode, Michonne ends up finding Rick and Carl in this house. And Rick says that it's for you when Michonne knocks on the door. And yeah. Episode 10. What I've got written down is Lizzie tries to kill Judith. What I mean by this is when Judith was, I'm assuming, would have been attracting walkers because she was crying, and obviously babies cry and shit. But Lizzie puts her hand over her nose and her mouth just to not really shut her up, per se. And obviously if you cover the nose and mouth, someone isn't going to be able to breathe. Like, yeah. That's why I put Lizzie tries to kill Judith question mark. Not really try and kill, but yeah. So we find out about the Terminus place where Carol, Tyrese, the two girls, and Judith are going to this Terminus place. We find out what, like, well, not really what it is, but this is like safe house, safe town, yeah. And Glenn returns. Well, he doesn't really return, but that's the first that we see of him since the mid-season finale. And he ends up meeting Tara. And right at the end of the episode, the Sergeant Eugene, that other woman, shows up. I thought that they were bad people or bad guys, and then someone commented there was no good people in this show. But yeah. So episode 11 is claimed where they end up, Rick, Carl and Michonne end up going to this house, and then there's other people that end up going there as well. Rick killed someone by strangling them. Rick had to escape. Michonne and Carl were on a run for food and whatnot. Then at the end of the episode they made their way to Terminus, which they get there at the season finale. And yeah, that's all I got for episode 11. Episode 12 was Daryl and Beth's episode, and the majority of that episode, Beth wanted to drink alcohol. Daryl goes on a mad one because they end up playing Never Have I Ever. If you haven't played that game, it's an awesome game, especially when it comes to drinking wise. It's an easy way to get smashed. If you don't know what I mean by smashed, because I don't know if like British are the only term people that use that term, it pretty much means wasted, liquored. Yeah. Yeah, Daryl's past comes up to haunt him, let's say. He ends up going to this hut place, obviously, where he said that him and Michonne had found. He said his dad had a place like it. I thought that hut house place was actually going to be his dad's place, or his dad's old place, but I guess I was wrong with that. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got for episode 12. Episode 13. Daryl and Beth end up going to this house, and then I'm pretty sure it's like a funeral parlor or something, I don't know, or it's just a random house. Then in the basement or wherever is a funeral grave thing, morgue, I don't know. Yeah, then they hear a dog. Daryl goes to the door and tries to get the dog to come in, but the dog ends up running away. And the next time that the cans like fucking smash together, I don't know what the fuck that word would be called, Daryl thinks it's the dog again, but it turns out it's walkers. The house gets overrun by walkers. Daryl and Beth have to escape through the window, fucking whatnot. Daryl and Beth end up getting split up. Beth drives off in this fucking car. Yeah, we never see her again. Well, for the rest of the season anyway. And Daryl ends up going off on his own and ends up bumping into these badass people. Yeah. So episode 14 was Carol, Tyrese, Mika, Lizzie and Judith episode. Judith kills her little sister. She believes that her little sister is gonna come back to life. Yeah, that was I don't know what. I'm so fucking confused about that little kid. Yeah, it does my fucking head. But yeah, she ends up killing her. Lizzie ends up killing Mika with a knife. Carol has to kill Lizzie because she's not safe to be around people. Because, yeah, it's kind of obvious. At the end of episode 14, Tyrese and Carol end up talking on the table. Not literally on the table, but yeah, they're sitting down at the table. And Carol says that it was me who killed Karen and David. Tyrese forgives her, but will never forget. Yeah. And at the end of the episode, they end up going to the Terminus place, or heading to the Terminus place. And that was the last that we see them of this season. Episode 15, Maggie and Glenn get reunited because um, Glenn and Tara were stuck in the tunnel, surrounded by walkers. Glenn's ammo ran out. Yeah, and then shit just went down from there. I predicted that the claimed people were the people that were in the house with Rick, Carl, and Michonne, and I turned out I was right. And now the season finale. This was a good episode, I thought anyway. I didn't think that it was as good as the mid-season finale, but a good episode either way. So the claimed people end up attacking Rick, Carl, and Michonne, and then end up attacking Daryl. That's where Daryl and Rick and whatnot get reunited. Rick kills the leader of the claimed people by biting his shoulder and ripping skin off his shoulder, and then he's then gonna end up turning. We never see it, but guarantee will. Rick ends up repeatedly stabbing one person that was attacking Carl. Well, not really attacking, but holding Carl. Parents go to the end of the earth to defend their kids. Yeah. And then they end up making their way to Terminus. They don't trust this Terminus place. Turns out they were right not to trust this Terminus place, because shit goes down. Then they end up getting kind of forced into this trailer place, and where they get reunited with Maggie and Glenn. Sort of get reunited with Tara. Sort of, but they never really knew each other, but I'm assuming they sort of know of each other. And then they meet the Sergeant Eugene and that other woman. Yeah, that was pretty much the review. So guys, I apologize if this review was a bit messy. In editing I'll try and tidy it up a little bit. I don't know how well it's gonna go, but yeah, if you like this video and yeah, whatnot, then give it a like. Comment down below what you thought of this review, and if there was any notes that I'd missed out or whatnot. And if you have a particular favorite episode of the season, then leave the comment down below. Let me know, and we can have a discussion about, like, yeah. Share to your family and friends, and you ever think you want to watch this video. There's not really much point in subscribing, but go to subscribe to my new channel. There'll be a video tomorrow explaining what is happening with that. Yeah, the link for the channel is in the description, so go and subscribe to the new channel. It's called Geek Union, or just type it in on YouTube and then subscribe that way. Boom. I guess I'll catch you guys in tomorrow's video. Sort of. Bye bye.